The morning light filtered through the tall windows of Lecture Hall 7 on Kepler Station. Hundreds of cadets sat in neat rows, waiting for their xenobiology class to begin. Ji-Woo sat in the back row where she always sat. She was a human girl, 19 years old, with dark eyes that watched everything but said very little. No one really noticed her much. To most cadets, she was just another face at the academy, unremarkable and quiet. Instructor Teo walked into the hall with the confidence of someone who had taught for many years. He was a Ziphian, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. He had been teaching at the academy for over 20 years, and every cadet respected him. He set his datapad on the desk and looked at his students. "Today," Teo said, his voice filling the room, "we will talk about Deathworlds. We will talk about why certain planets in our galaxy remain unreachable, why no intelligent species will ever walk on their surfaces and return alive." The cadets leaned forward with interest. Deathworlds were the mystery of the galaxy. Every academy student wanted to understand them. Teo activated the display screen behind him. Images of a beautiful blue and green planet appeared before them. The world was stunning, with white clouds, blue oceans, and green continents. It was called Earth. "This planet," Teo said slowly, "is perhaps the most dangerous world we have ever found. Look at these numbers. The gravity is higher than most habitable worlds. The weather systems create hurricanes and tornadoes with winds that can destroy buildings. The temperatures can drop to freezing in winter and reach extreme heat in summer. Rain falls constantly in some regions, and droughts last for years in others." He showed them images of animals, large creatures with sharp teeth and claws, predators that hunted anything that moved, insects that were poisonous, snakes with venom strong enough to kill in minutes, plants that were toxic just by touching them. "The human species," Teo continued, "somehow evolved on this world. This is a miracle of nature. They adapted to survive here over millions of years. Their bodies are strong, their minds are clever. They learn to work together, to build shelter, to hunt, to farm. But even with all this adaptation, Earth is still a world that tries to kill you every single day." Ha-Yun, a Delthian cadet sitting next to an empty seat, whispered to the cadet on her other side. The Delthians were a peaceful species, known for their intelligence and curiosity. Ha-Yun was 20 years old and one of the top students in the academy. She had never been to Earth. No one in her family had been to Earth. Earth was too dangerous for her species. "The academy has established a simple rule," Teo said. "No expeditions to Earth, no research teams on the surface, no attempts to study this world up close. We watch Earth from orbit. We study it from space. We read about it in our historical records. But we do not go there. We do not test ourselves against it. This is wisdom, not fear." Min-Ho, a Vextari cadet with silver skin and intelligent eyes, raised his hand. The Vextari were known for their logic and their sometimes cold way of looking at the universe. "Instructor Tai-O," Min-Ho said, "if humans survived on Earth for thousands of years, could not other species learn to survive there too?" Teo nodded, as if this was a question he expected. "A good question, Min-Ho. The answer is no. Humans evolved there. Their bodies are made for that world. Their immune systems can fight Earth's diseases. Their bones can handle the gravity. Their skin can protect them from the sun's rays. Other species do not have these gifts. If a Delthian walked on Earth's surface without protection, they would die within hours. If a Ziphian tried to survive there, the pressure would crush them. Earth is not a place for visitors. It is only a place for those born to it. And that time has passed. The last human settlements on Earth were abandoned long ago." In the back row, Ji-Woo listened to every word. Her small hands rested on the desk in front of her. Her face showed no emotion, but something inside her was listening very carefully. Teo showed more images and data. He explained the chemical composition of Earth's atmosphere. He showed pictures of storms and earthquakes. He told the cadets about diseases that lived in Earth's soil, diseases that could make a visitor very sick. He talked about the oceans, with creatures so large and so dangerous that entire research teams had been lost studying them. Earth is a death world, Teo said finally, not because it is mean or evil, but because it does not care about the lives of visitors. It simply is what it is, beautiful and terrible at the same time. We respect Earth by staying away from it. We honor the humans who lived there by remembering their achievement in surviving. But we do not repeat their experiment. We do not send our people into that trap. The other cadets nodded. This was the teaching they had always received. This was what they believed to be true. Teo looked across the lecture hall. "Are there any questions?" he asked. Silence filled the room. Cadets looked at each other. No one raised their hand. This topic was settled. This was known fact. Then, in the back row, a small hand rose slowly into the air. Teo's blue eyes looked toward the back of the hall. It was Jiwoo. She rarely spoke in class. She almost never asked questions. Teo was surprised to see her hand up. "Yes?" he said. "You have a question?" Jiwoo stood up. She was not tall. She was quiet. Her voice, when she spoke, was very soft, but every cadet in the room heard what she said. "I have something to tell you. Instructor Teo," Jiwoo said. "I have walked on Earth, not in a suit, not with protection, barefoot. I have walked across its jungles and deserts. I have hunted for food there. I have drunk from its rivers. I have survived its weather and its animals and its storms. I have been to the places you say are impossible to reach, and I came back alive." The room exploded with sound. Cadets turned around to stare at her. Some laughed. Some whispered to each other. Ha-Yun turned completely around in her seat, her mouth open in surprise. Teo's 4 arms crossed in front of his body. His expression hardened. "That is not possible," he said coldly. "You are making a story, Jiwoo. I do not know why you would do this, but it is not acceptable to lie in my class." "I am not lying," Jiwoo said quietly, sitting back down. But Teo had already moved on, beginning to talk about something else, as if Jiwoo had never spoken at all. Ha-Yun stared at her friend. She had lived next to Jiwoo for 4 years at the academy. She thought she knew everything about her, but now she was not sure what she knew at all. 3 days after Jiwoo spoke in Teo's class, the Academy Council called an emergency meeting. News of her claim spread through Kepler Station like fire. Cadets talked about it in the dining halls. Teachers discussed it in the corridors. Some said she was crazy. Others wondered if there was any truth to her words. Dr. Q-Song sat at the head of a long table in the council chamber. He was old, with gray hair and a face that showed many years of leadership. The council members sat around him. There were 7 of them, each representing different departments of the academy. Sujin was there too. She was a xenobiologist, only 35 years old, but she had already made important discoveries about how different species adapted to different worlds. "This girl's claim cannot be ignored," Sujin said, looking at the data pad in front of her. "I have found something interesting. In the old academy records, there are logs from 15 years ago. They mention a human settlement on Earth. They mention a rescue operation. A child was rescued. The records after that are marked as classified and sealed." Dr. Q-Sang leaned back in his chair. His expression was troubled. "Sealed by whom?" he asked. "By the council that was here before us," Sujin said. "The files have been locked for a long time. I cannot open them." One of the other council members, a Vextari, named Javin, shook his head. "This could be a trick," he said. "The girl could have seen these old records somewhere and created a false story based on them." "Or," Sujin said, "she is telling the truth, and we have been teaching our cadets a lie." The room went silent. This was a serious accusation. The academy was built on the idea that it taught only truth. The thought that they might have been teaching a lie was deeply uncomfortable. Dr. Q-Sang stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the stars. He was quiet for a long time. Then he turned back to the council. "We need proof," he said. "We cannot accuse our own institution of deception without proof, and we cannot confirm this girl's story without proof either. I propose an expedition." The council members looked at each other. An expedition to Earth was the kind of thing that had never been done. It went against everything the Academy taught. "An expedition," Dr. Q-Sang continued, "led by Jiwoo if she is willing. We will have her guide us to specific places on Earth, places she claims to remember from her childhood. If she can show us these places, if the landmarks match her descriptions, then we will have evidence. If she cannot, then her story will be revealed as false, and the Academy's teachings will be confirmed as correct." "This is dangerous," Javin said. "Sending cadets to Earth is not wise." "Agreed," said another council member. "But allowing lies to continue in our academy is also not wise. We will proceed carefully. We will take safety equipment. We will stay near the shuttle at all times. And we will limit the expedition to a small team." Sujin smiled slightly. Finally, there would be a chance to learn the truth. 2 weeks later, Jiwoo was called to meet with Dr. Q-Song in his office. She did not know what to expect. Perhaps they would punish her for lying. Perhaps they would expel her from the academy. She walked slowly down the corridor, trying to prepare herself for whatever came next. But when she entered his office, Dr. Q-Song was kind to her. He offered her a seat. He asked her questions about her childhood. He wanted to know what she remembered about Earth. What landmarks could she describe? What animals had she seen? What plants had she learned to recognize? Jiwoo answered carefully. She described a massive waterfall, tall trees with red flowers, a cave system, and a settlement made of metal and stone. She talked about predators with many eyes and herbivores that traveled in groups. She talked about a day when the ground shook, when the earth itself moved beneath her feet. Dr. Q-Sang listened to every word. When she finished, he told her about the expedition. He told her that she would guide a team back to Earth to prove her story. He told her that if she was telling the truth, the Academy would acknowledge it, and if she was lying, she would be expelled. "I will go," Jiwoo said simply. "I am telling the truth. Earth is real. What I remember is real." The expedition team was chosen carefully. Sujin would lead the scientific team. Ha-Yun volunteered to go, even though Sujin warned her that Earth was dangerous. Ha-Yun said she needed to know if her friend was telling the truth. She could not stay behind. To everyone's surprise, Minho also volunteered. The Vexitari cadet said that he wanted to document everything. If Jiwoo was lying, he wanted to record her lies. If she was telling the truth, he wanted to record that too. Minho did not seem to like Jiwoo very much, but he was curious, and that curiosity was enough to make him join the expedition. Taio tried to stop the expedition. He spoke to Dr. Q-Sang privately. He said that sending cadets to Earth would confirm a terrible message. It would tell young people that they should challenge the Academy's teachings. It would make students think that tradition and safety were less important than adventure and truth. Dr. Q-Sang listened politely, but he did not change his decision. "We will know the truth," the old man said simply, "and truth is always better than comfortable lies." The day before the expedition departed, Ha-Yun found Jiwoo in the Academy garden. The garden was a place where different plants from different worlds grew together. Jiwoo was sitting alone by a pool of water, looking at her reflection. "Are you scared?" Ha-Yun asked, sitting down next to her friend. "Yes," Jiwoo said, "but not of Earth. I am scared of what will happen if I fail. I am scared that I will not be able to find the places I remember. Memories from childhood fade. What if I cannot show them where things are?" "And if you can?" Ha-Yun asked. If you show them everything, if you prove that Earth is real and that you have been there? Jiwoo looked at her friend. Then everything changes, she said, for the Academy, for all of us, for humans everywhere. If the Academy has been lying about Earth, what else have they been lying about? Ha-Yun had no answer to that question. She only took her friend's hand and held it, offering comfort without words. The next morning, the expedition team boarded the shuttle. Jiwoo sat by the window as they left Kepler Station. Earth grew larger and larger as they approached it. She could see the clouds swirling around the planet. She could see the blue of the oceans and the green of the continents. She could feel her heart beating faster. She had been away from Earth for so long. She had almost forgotten how beautiful it was. But now, seeing it again, she remembered everything. She remembered the smell of the rain. She remembered the sound of the animals at night. She remembered the feeling of the soil beneath her feet. "We are beginning our descent," Sujin announced from the pilot seat. "In 10 minutes, we will touch down on the surface." Jiwoo closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She was going home, and she was terrified. The shuttle landed with a soft thud on Earth's dark soil. Through the windows, the team could see a world unlike anything they had ever experienced. Massive trees stretched upward, so tall they seemed to touch the sky. The vegetation was so thick and green that it was almost overwhelming. Vines hung from branches, creating a natural net across the forest. Strange sounds filled the air, chirping, calling, and the rustle of movement in the undergrowth. Sujin checked the environmental readings on her instrument pad. "The air is breathable," she said. "The gravity is higher than we are used to, but manageable. The temperature is warm, about 30 degrees. There are no immediate toxic readings in the immediate area around the shuttle." Everyone was wearing protective suits. Helmets covered their heads. Gloves protected their hands. The suits were white and thick, designed to keep the wearers safe from any danger the planet might present. Everyone except Jiwoo. Jiwoo sat calmly in her seat, watching the others prepare. She was not putting on a suit. "Jiwoo," Sujin said, turning to look at her, "you need to put on a protective suit. It is dangerous outside without protection." "No," Jiwoo said simply. "I cannot show you Earth if I am hiding from it. Earth teaches through feeling, through touching, through being present in the moment. A suit separates me from the world. It will make me a stranger here, not a guide." Minho laughed from his seat. "This is madness," he said. "She will be dead within the hour. Then we can all go home and the Academy will be proven right." Ha-Yun stood up. "If she is going without a suit," Ha-Yun said, "then I am going without a suit too." "No," Sujin said firmly. "Ha-Yun, you will keep your suit on. Jiwoo has lived on this world before. You have not. This is not a time for heroics." But Ha-Yun did not listen. She began removing her protective suit, piece by piece. Sujin tried to stop her, but Ha-Yun was determined. Finally, with a sigh, Sujin gave in. 2 cadets would walk on Earth unprotected. The team would follow them carefully, monitoring their vital signs. The airlock door opened. Warm, humid air rushed into the shuttle. The smell was overwhelming, earth and plants and life, all mixed together. It was a smell like nothing in the Academy. Jiwoo stepped out first. Her feet touched the soil of Earth, and she closed her eyes. For a moment, she did not move. She simply felt. The ground beneath her was warm and slightly wet. She could feel the life in it, the insects moving through it, the roots of plants spreading through it, the water trickling beneath it. Then she opened her eyes and looked around. She turned slowly, taking in the landscape, the massive trees, the thick vines, the undergrowth of smaller plants and fungi. She was trying to remember, trying to place herself in this world she had not seen for so long. "There," she said, pointing to the left. "That way. Do you see the rocks? The ones with moss on them? That formation is like a marker. I remember it." We used to use it to find our way back to the settlement. The team followed her. Soo-jin and Min-ho stayed close, recording everything. Ha-yun walked beside Ji-woo, watching her friend move through this dangerous world like she was dancing. As they walked, Ji-woo explained things. She pointed to plants and told them which were safe to eat and which were poisonous. She showed them how to read the ground, to understand which animals had passed through recently and which ones to avoid. She explained that the sound of certain birds meant danger was near, while the sound of others meant the area was safe. Earth is not trying to kill you, Ji-woo said as they pushed through the dense vegetation. Earth is neutral. It does not care if you live or die. But if you learn to read it, if you understand its language, then you can survive. Humans learned this language millions of years ago. Our bodies know it. Our instincts know it. Even though I have been away, my body remembers. After 4 hours of walking, they saw something that made them stop. It was metal. Rust covered it, and vines grew around it. It was a building, or what remained of a building. The settlement. Min-ho began recording video immediately. Soo-jin moved forward, studying the structure. It was clearly human-made. You could see the intention in how it was built. Windows and doors were visible. The metal frame still stood, though it was weak and corroded. Inside, Ji-woo said, there are things we left behind, records, personal belongings, tools. My mother kept everything organized. She wanted someone to find it someday. She wanted someone to know that we were here. They entered the building carefully. The floor was covered with soil and plant matter. Roots had broken through in places, but inside, preserved by the dry interior, were the remnants of human civilization. Metal containers held documents. Shelves held tools that were still recognizable. In one room, there were plants growing in containers, some still alive after all these years. Ha-yun found a picture, a family standing in front of this same building, a man and a woman and a young girl. The girl in the picture was Ji-woo, but younger. She was smiling. Your family? Ha-yun asked softly. Yes, Ji-woo said. This was my home. Then they heard it. A sound from outside, a sound that made every member of the team go still. It was a low growl, deep and vibrating through the air. A warning sound, a predator sound. Through the window they saw movement. Something large was approaching the building. The shape was difficult to see through the vegetation, but it was big, very big. It had multiple eyes that glowed in the dim light filtering through the trees, and more eyes. So many eyes that it was hard to count them. Stay calm, Ji-woo said. She moved to the window and opened it wide. She climbed out of the building slowly and carefully. Her movements were deliberate and non-threatening. The creature, whatever it was, moved closer. It could have attacked. Its size alone would have allowed it to destroy the group easily. But it did not attack. Instead, it watched. Ji-woo moved forward slowly, her eyes on the creature. She did not run. She did not fight. She simply stood there, making herself small and unthreatening. She began to move her hands in a specific pattern, a movement that seemed to match the rhythm of the creature's breathing, back and forth, slow and steady. The creature watched. Then, to the amazement of everyone inside the building, the creature moved its body in a similar pattern. They were communicating. Through movement and body language, two intelligent beings were understanding each other. She is communicating with it, Soo-jin whispered in wonder. Impossible, Min-ho said. But it was happening. Ji-woo and the creature moved together in this strange dance for several minutes. Then, slowly, the creature turned away. It moved back into the forest and was gone. Ji-woo turned to face the window. There was no fear in her expression, only calm understanding. It was not hungry, she said when she climbed back into the building. It was curious. Earth teaches you to know when something is a threat, and when it is simply another creature sharing the same world. That is how you survive here. Not by fighting, but by understanding. Ha-Yun looked at her friend with new respect. She had always thought she knew Ji-Woo, but now she realized that her friend was something more than she had ever imagined. Ji-Woo was not just a human. She was someone who belonged to Earth itself. As the sun began to set on Earth, painting the sky in shades of orange and red, Ji-Woo led the team away from the settlement. They walked in silence through the forest, the sounds of evening life beginning around them. Insects came out. Birds called from the trees. The temperature dropped slightly as darkness approached. "There is a place we need to reach before night falls," Ji-Woo said. "A place that is safe. My mother found it. She showed me how to find it when I was very young. It is where she wanted me to be if anything ever happened to the settlement." They walked for another hour. The forest became slightly less dense. The ground beneath their feet began to slope downward, and then they saw it, an opening in the earth. A cave entrance, dark and mysterious, hidden behind vines and moss. "Here," Ji-Woo said. "This is where we sleep tonight." They entered the cave carefully. Soo-Jin used her light to illuminate the passage. The walls were stone, smooth in some places and rough in others. As they moved deeper, the temperature changed. It became warmer, and the air felt different, fresher somehow. Then they entered a large chamber, and everyone stopped in amazement. The chamber was massive, and it glowed with a soft light. Bioluminescent plants covered the walls and ceiling, creating an otherworldly illumination. There was a pool of water in the center, so clear you could see the bottom, and everywhere, covering the walls and growing in organized plots on the ground, were plants. Hundreds of plants, growing in containers, organized in rows, some that looked like Earth food crops that the team recognized from historical records. "This is impossible," Minho said. "How could anyone maintain a garden like this in a cave?" "My mother," Ji-Woo said simply. "This is what she was trying to do. She was trying to understand how humans could not just survive on Earth, but build a sustainable life here. She was an agricultural scientist. She believed that if humans could grow food on Earth, if we could understand the soil and the plants and the creatures that help them grow, then we could live here. Not just live, but flourish." Soo-Jin moved through the garden like a person in a dream. She touched the leaves of the plants. She looked at the records carved into stone tablets. Her eyes were wide with wonder. "These records," she said, reading the stone tablets carefully, "they document everything: crop yields, success rates, soil composition, animal observations. This is not just a garden. This is a research project. A complete, comprehensive research project on how to build a human civilization on Earth." "My mother was brilliant," Ji-Woo said. "She taught me to read the signs of the land, to understand which plants would grow in this soil, which animals were helpful and which were dangerous, how to predict the weather by reading the clouds and the wind, how to be part of Earth instead of trying to conquer it. She spent every day here, studying, experimenting, learning, and she taught me everything she knew." Minho found a metal box in one corner of the cave, covered in plants. Inside the box were documents, personal journals written by hand. He pulled them out carefully and began to read them aloud. "Listen to this," he said. His voice was different now, not mocking but serious. "I am Yun-Hai. I am a scientist and a mother. I have been on Earth for 5 years with my family, trying to establish a permanent settlement for humans. We have succeeded in many ways. We have built shelter. We have created water systems. We have grown food. But the Academy will not listen to our reports. They have told us to stop the experiment. They have told us to come home. But I cannot. I will not. Because I know that Earth is not a death world. It is a world that tests you, but it is not impossible. Ji-woo's eyes closed as she listened to her mother's words. Tears fell down her cheeks. Min-ho continued reading. My daughter Ji-woo is 8 years old. She is stronger than I am in many ways. She understands Earth better than I do. She can move through the forest like she was born to it. She has no fear. She has only curiosity and respect. If I could do one thing for humanity, I would make sure that other children like my Ji-woo could grow up on Earth, could learn from this world, because this world is not trying to destroy us. It is trying to teach us. I was 13 when the settlement fell, Ji-woo said quietly. There was an earthquake. It destroyed the buildings. It caused a landslide that trapped several of our people. My mother went to help them. The ground gave way beneath her. She was buried in the collapse. Others tried to save her, but they could not. By the time help arrived from the academy, it was too late. She was gone. They rescued me because I was the only survivor found in the ruins. The academy took me back to the station. They sealed all of my mother's research. They locked it away. They told me to forget about Earth. They told me that the settlement was a failure, that my mother's work meant nothing. But it did mean something, Soo-jin said firmly. She was looking at more records, more documents. This work is extraordinary. This is proof that humans can not only survive on Earth, but that we can build a knowledge base for how to do it properly. This is not a failure. This is a legacy. Min-ho set down the journal. His expression was troubled. The Academy sealed these records, he said. It was not a question, it was a statement. Yes, Ji-woo said. Because if people knew that Earth was not impossible, everything would change. Humans would not be the fragile species that needed protection and rules. We would be pioneers. We would be explorers. We would be something the Academy could not control. And that frightened them. I need to see the Academy's sealed records, Min-ho said suddenly. The ones about the settlement, the ones about your mother. They are in the restricted archive, Soo-jin said. Only the council can access them. Then we bring this evidence to the council, Min-ho said. All of this, these documents, these records, this garden, your mother's journals, everything. We show them what has been hidden. We show them the truth. Ha-yun had been quiet, simply listening. Now she spoke. They will not want to believe us, she said. They have taught everyone for so long that Earth is impossible. Admitting the truth means admitting that they have been lying. People do not like admitting that kind of lie. No, Soo-jin agreed. They do not. But the truth is the truth. And sometimes the truth is more powerful than any lie. Ji-woo looked around the cave at her mother's life's work, at the plants that still grew, sustained by the geothermal heat of the cave, at the records carefully maintained through the years, at the evidence of human brilliance and determination. My mother believed that one day someone would find this place, Ji-woo said. She believed that one day the truth would come out. She believed that humans were meant for Earth, that we could live here, that we could be more than what the Academy said we could be. I think she was right. That night, the team slept in the cave among the bioluminescent plants, surrounded by proof of everything they had been taught to deny. And as they slept, each one of them understood that they had found something that would change everything about the Academy, about humanity, and about the future of human exploration in the galaxy. The large assembly hall of Kepler Academy was full. Every seat was taken. Cadets stood along the walls. Teachers lined the corridors. Even staff members who rarely attended Academy events crowded into the space. News of the expedition's return had spread through the station quickly. Everyone wanted to know what had happened on Earth. Dr. Q-sung sat at the front, looking older and more tired than he had a week ago. Beside him were the other council members. Taio was there as well, his 4 arms crossed in front of his body, his expression hard and closed. Soo-jin stood at a podium, presenting the evidence they had found. She showed images of the cave. She displayed her analysis of the soil samples they had collected. She presented the measurements of the plants growing in the garden and explained their nutritional value. She spoke about the sustainability of the ecosystem in the cave. The garden that Jiwoo's mother created, Sujin said, her voice clear and strong, shows evidence of scientific genius. The crop rotation methods were advanced. The selection of earth plants that could sustain human life was careful and deliberate. And most importantly, the system was sustainable. It could continue indefinitely with minimal maintenance. This is not the work of someone lost and desperate. This is the work of someone creating a future. Then Minho presented his discovery. He had used Academy technology to decrypt some of the sealed records while they were traveling back to the station. He displayed them on the screen for everyone to see. These files show that the Academy knew about Jiwoo's mother's research, Minho said. They knew that she was succeeding. They knew that Earth could be colonized. But instead of supporting this work, the Academy Council of that time made a decision. They decided that human advancement was a threat to the established order of the galaxy. If humans could master Deathworlds, the hierarchy of galactic civilization would shift. The Academy chose to hide the truth. They chose to suppress this knowledge. Murmurs went through the crowd. People looked at each other in shock. "This is speculation," one council member said sharply. "You cannot prove intent." "Actually, I can," Minho said calmly. He displayed more documents. "These are internal council communications from 20 years ago. They discuss the human problem. They discuss how to prevent human species from becoming too powerful or too independent. They discuss exactly how to reshape historical records and educational curricula to teach that Earth is unreachable. It is all here, documented in their own words." Teo stood up. His blue face was dark with anger. "This is betrayal," he said loudly. "You are betraying the stability of the Academy. You are creating panic and doubt where there should be order and trust." "I taught you," he continued, looking directly at Jiwoo and Ha-Yun. "I taught you what I was ordered to teach. I told myself I was doing it for protection, for safety. But now I know I was lying to you. And I was lying to myself." The old instructor moved to the center of the hall. He looked out at all the faces watching him. "I was told by the council 20 years ago to rewrite my curriculum," he said. "They gave me new textbooks, new lesson plans, new facts to teach. At first I resisted. I knew it was not true. But then they told me something that made me comply. They said that if I did not cooperate, I would be fired. My family would lose my income. I would be branded as disloyal to the Academy. I was afraid, so I chose comfort over truth." He turned to look at Jiwoo. "I am sorry," he said simply. "You were telling the truth, and I called you a liar." Jiwoo stood up from her seat. She began to walk to the front of the assembly hall. The crowd opened to let her through. When she reached the podium, she stood there for a moment without speaking. Everyone watched her. This young girl who had walked on a death world barefoot, who had survived impossible things, who had challenged everything the Academy taught. Then she removed her boots and set them on the podium. "The Academy taught me that Earth was impossible," Jiwoo began. "The Academy taught me to fear it, to see it as dangerous and destructive. But what I learned from my mother, and what I learned from walking on Earth barefoot, is something different. Earth is not a place of cruelty. It is a place of testing. It teaches you, if you listen, if you are willing to learn." She moved to the center of the stage and stood there with bare feet on the ground of the platform. "Every species in this galaxy has strength," she said. "The Ziphians have their intelligence and their physical power. The Delthians have their empathy and wisdom. The Vexitari have their logic and precision. But humans have something different. We have adaptability. We have the ability to understand new worlds, not by conquering them, but by becoming part of them. My mother knew this. She spent her life trying to teach it. And I am here to teach it too." She looked directly at Dr. Q-Sang. "I am asking the Academy to change," she said. I am asking you to stop hiding the truth. I am asking you to teach future cadets that Earth is not unreachable. It is reachable if you understand it. It is accessible if you respect it. And I am offering to help. I want to create a new program. A program to teach other cadets how humans survived on Earth, how humans can master Deathworlds, not to dominate them, but to live in harmony with them. Ha-Yun stood and joined Ji-Woo on the stage. She did not remove her boots, but she placed her hand on her friend's shoulder. I am a Delthian, Ha-Yun said. I was taught that Earth was too dangerous for my kind, but I walked on Earth barefoot with Ji-Woo, and I learned that the danger is not the world itself. The danger is believing lies about what is possible. Dr. Q-Sang slowly stood to his feet. He looked very old in that moment, carrying the weight of institutional failure. The council accepts responsibility for the deception, he said. We will open the sealed records, we will revise our curriculum, and we will authorize the program that Ji-Woo has proposed. I have a concern, said a Vextari council member. If we do this, if we admit these truths, our credibility will be damaged, our authority will be questioned. Good, Sujin said, standing up. I think our authority should be questioned. I think we should be held accountable, and I think that is what will make us better as an institution. Over the next hour, the council voted. They voted to approve Ji-Woo's new program. They voted to unseal the restricted records. They voted to acknowledge the achievement of the human settlement and specifically the life work of Ji-Woo's mother, Yun-Hai. When the voting ended, the assembly hall erupted in applause. Young cadets stood and cheered. Teachers nodded in approval. Even some council members who had opposed the decision began to clap, accepting the will of the majority. But through it all, Ji-Woo stood barefoot on that stage, thinking not of victory, but of her mother. Thinking of Yun-Hai, who had died believing that her work would one day be recognized. Thinking of the gift her mother had given her, the knowledge, the strength, the understanding of how to live in harmony with the most dangerous world in the galaxy. Ha-Yun squeezed her friend's shoulder, and Ji-Woo finally allowed herself to smile.